Hi, welcome to Cryptic Cruciverbalism. This is a video series where I solve cryptic crosswords live and try to explain mechanics, abbreviations, and so on to help you with your own solving. Sorry about all the background noise today. It's the cicadas. They are going wild where I am. So this is the Guardian Quick Cryptic number 34. Came out on Saturday. These ones come out on a Saturday. I normally use this as my start of the week, then the Cryptic, then Monday's Cryptic, and so on. This is set by Chandler, so let's see how it goes. We'll start with one across. Damp weather as rule reportedly. So when I see the word reportedly, that makes me think that we might have a homophone. So I think reportedly is a kind of mechanic word. If so, rule could be the word that we're making a homophone of, like a law. And that would also mean that the straight part is probably damp or damp weather. So damp weather could be rain, and that fits for the answer because the word rule, R-U-L-E, could also be a synonym for rain, R-E-I-G-N, which means we have a homophone of rain. Okay, so let's do one down. By the sound of it, okay, so straight away, by the sound of it, makes you think we've probably got a homophone. It went by bike, so if you went by bike, you rode, R-O-A-D, and that, if these are all the mechanic words, then the straight part of the clue would be the last part, which is street. So street is road, R-O-A-D, and we have a homophone for R-O-D-E, so another homophone. Anger found in pair exceptionally. So it's a three-letter word, and it could well mean anger, or it could mean exceptionally. I'm going to guess it means anger because a three-letter word that starts with I for anger could be ire. And then just looking at the clue, we've got found in. Found in could indicate that we're looking for a hidden word. And if we look at pair, the last letter, two letters of pair are I and R, and we have the first E of exceptionally. So that gives us ire. I'm just going to pause the video for a second while I see if I can show the cursor. Okay, I think I'm showing the cursor now, which might make it a little easier to follow if you're watching the video. So let's look at 8 across. 2 bridge players. Okay, so 2 bridge players, this is a really common mechanic or kind of code word in crosswords. So bridge players in the game bridge are north, south, east, and west. So that makes me think that we could have any of those compass point letters here. And then it says with 2 notes. Notes is also a pretty common code word. It could be the notes from the musical scale, so A, B, C, D, E, F. So we could be having something like an NE, like a northeast, with 2 notes. And then we've got extremely impressive. So I'm going to guess that the straight part is impressive or extremely impressive. It kind of makes sense to make the assumption it's those 2 because I think the beginning words are more like mechanic words. The other nice thing about this is it could be extremely impressive, like amazing, or it could be impressive, but either way, amazing would fit for that. Extremely could also be a mechanic word. It could mean the extremes of the words we're looking at. So like the extremes of the word notes is an N and an S, a T and an O for 2. So awesome could be extremely impressive. How would that work? So 2 bridge players. We've got an east and a south here with 2 notes. So O-M-E-A-W. Why that would be 2 notes, I'm not sure. So I'm going to take this one out for now. I feel pretty confident it's awesome, but I'll come back when I've got some more letters in and had a bit of a chance to think. So 3 across. Fail in dining area ahead. So fail could be something like give up. Ahead, it could be up. So I think that what we might have here is the straight part being fail, a word for a dining area, like, I don't know, something that means a dining room or a restaurant or a cafe, and a word that means ahead, which means up. So let's test that out by looking at 6 down. Favour, quiet, official, with little hesitation. So favour could be for. If you're in favour of something, you're for it. It could be pro. You could be pro something. The other thing that jumps out to me here is that we've got the word quiet, and quiet is a very common word to abbreviate to P, because in musical notation, P is piano. Piano means quiet. An official could be all sorts of things, like a rep as a representative, or an ambassador or someone. And then at the end we've got little hesitation. Little hesitation is quite a nice bit of wordplay, because you could have something like or so I think that means that the P looks like it's quite likely, because it could be the P for quiet, or it could be pro for favour. But the rest of it doesn't jump out at me for now, so let's do this nice little one, 9 across. Exploit, generous, expert, not altogether. So it's a 3-letter word that could mean exploit, or it could mean not altogether. A 3-letter word for exploit could be use, and just looking at what we've got here, the last 2 letters of generous are US, and the first of expert is E, so that's the word excuse. So not altogether is telling us that we have a hidden word. So there's a hidden word in these words, and the straight part is use. That might give us a hand on 5 down, which might help us just get this top right corner. So sun with fall gets to make mistake. Sun is often S. I think that's just from genealogy, where you see, like, whatever they call them, the genealogy diagrams, like son, daughter, father, mother, wife, husband, or whatever. With fall, so what could fall be? Fall could be to drop or slip or whatever, to make a mistake. So I guess that the straight part on this one is probably make a mistake. But what the answer is, I don't know just yet, so let's keep going to the process. This is turning into a slightly harder one than last week's. Mate leading a group of diners is easy to take. A nice little bit of wordplay here, because we've got mate being easy to take. There's a kind of a bit of a chess theme to this clue, perhaps. So mate leading group of diners is easy to take. It could be a word that means mate. It could be something that means easy to take. Group of diners could be party. This doesn't jump out at me, so I'm just going to keep on whipping through. And this is normally how I do the crosswords. I go with the across clues. I look for some really easy ones that jump out, that feel fairly certain. Once I've got one of those in, I try and get any adjacent clues that touch it. And then if I don't get any adjacent ones, I just go back to the acrosses, look for the easy ones, then do the same with the downs, and then start to fill in the gaps. It can make a lot of sense to just step away from a clue for a while, because sometimes you find that just kind of having it in the back of your mind rather than really concentrating on it helps you solve it. So, Arab cried after shifting obstacle. So Arab cried feels a little forced to me, which makes me wonder if we're just going to use the letters of Arab cried. I can see just from kind of glancing at it that it's an anagram of barricade, which would be an obstacle, the straight part. So straight part is obstacle, which is barricade. Arab cried after shifting. The after shifting indicates that we have an anagram, and the letters for the anagram are Arab cried. So that could give us a chance on 11 down, which would give us quite a few first letters. So let's give that one a try. So a bachelor, immediately I think the letter A for A. A bachelor could be a BA, so a bachelor's degree, with American journalist subjected to insults. So American could be something like U. A journalist could be ED for Ed. So we've got A, B, A, U, E, D. Doesn't quite fit, but if instead we just had U, S, E, D, then that would give subjected to insults. So we've got A is just the letter A, first word. Bachelor, just B. Not sure if I've seen bachelor shortened, abbreviated to B before, so I don't know if that's a common abbreviation or not. Then we've got American, which is US. And then a journalist, which is ED. That's a really common abbreviation. ED is for editor, if you don't recognise that. 14 across. Go downhill. Okay, 3-letter word for go downhill. Could be ski. And it's in spotless kit. So in is telling us we have a hidden word, and the word ski is hidden in the letters of spotless kit. So that's another hidden word. So far we've seen a few hidden words, one anagram, and a few homophones. So we might be having a bit of a theme of mechanics. The quick cryptic often kind of heavily uses 2 or 3 mechanics each week as a chance to kind of reinforce the learning for those mechanics, rather than, say, the cryptic, which uses a good distribution of all of them. Stop, rude, sister, in part. So because we've seen a lot of hidden words, the words in part make me think that we might have a hidden word. If we did, it would start with D. There's a D in rude sister, and just following out the 6 letters from that, we've got desist, and that gives us the straight part, which is stop. So making a little bit of progress now. Might go to 10 down. Don't have the starting letter, but we do have a few letters in it. A priest arranged socials. So arranged is a really common anagram indicator. A priest has 7 letters. So what could that be? Socials could be parties. So that's fairly straightforward. That's our second anagram of the crossword. Mate leading a group of diners is easy to take. So mate could be pal. That might be the beginning of the word. I'm trying to think of what could follow that, like palindrome or something. But maybe as a bit of a punt, if we put an L here, we could try 7 down and see if it fits with an L. The letters in 7 down are not very discriminating. We've got an I and it ends with an S, so it's not going to be particularly easy to jump out. Cornmeal is cooked. All right, cooked, sort of very classic anagram indicator word. Underground workers. This could be something like tunnelers or termites or miners for underground workers. So let's take a look at the anagram helper and see. We've got cornmeal is 10 letters. Just going to shuffle this around a few times. So before we continue, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that if it is a word that is underground workers, I'm just going to guess it ends in ERS. And if it does end in ERS and the I is correct, there's a good chance it's INERS or IMERS probably. So this is something I'll often do when I'm looking at an anagram and it doesn't jump out. I'll just take a bit of a guess on what the structure of the word could be. So a really classic example would be if you've got an I, an N, and a G in the letters for your anagram, there's a good chance the word might end in ing. It's kind of similar to Scrabble. If you've got an ing, you know you can often build some words by putting ing at the end. So what have we got here? Coal miners. So COLA, coal miners. That does mean that our 10 across could well start with PAL, and I think if it does, that's going to help us get to the answer quite quickly, because I can't think of many words that start with PAL that jump out to mind. Anyway, let's get a few more letters in it. We've got 15 across that starts with E. C clip for broadcast, showing astronomical event. So that's cool. If we were to think of astronomical events and assume astronomical event could be the straight part, there aren't that many that jump to mind, except for something like eclipse. As you can see, I can't actually spell very well. And that also looks like it contains the letters from the beginning of the clue, C, clip. So broadcast is probably an anagram indicator here. So we're broadcasting or kind of like firing out the letters of C, clip to give an astronomical event, which is eclipse. I'm going to do 16 down because it's 3 letters and starts with P, so it should be easy. Greek character mentioned in baked dish. Okay, so a Greek character could be pi if it begins P. And it's mentioned, so mentioned I think here is a homophone indicator, and it means that we're going to have a homophone of pi, the Greek letter, and it's going to give us a dish. So a dish could be a pi, P-I-E. So we've got another homophone clue, so we've had a few homophones now. 18 across, some fellow early for sport. So sport could be any kind of sporting event. It could be to wear. If you're sporting a new jacket. And actually, I can see that wear is there as a hidden word. So again, for a hidden word, so definitely homophones, hidden words in this crossword. And you tend to find anagrams in most of them. 13 down. Look. So when I say look, I often think eye, if you eye something. But we've also got hidden words. So if we look for hidden words here, we've potentially got C's, okay, not a word, or defa, not a word. We've also got the word announced at the end, so it could be a word that means look, that is a homophone of a seaside feature. So a seaside feature could be a pier, P-I-E-R, but the straight part is look, so what we've got is pier. And this is a little thing that can sometimes make homophones tricky. Sometimes you're not necessarily sure from the way the clue is written whether the straight part is the pier, the seaside feature, or whether it's the look. Often the clues are written in such a way that it's fairly clear, but sometimes it can feel a touch ambiguous. Okay, so we're doing reasonably well with this one at the moment. Let's take a look at 4 down, because that could unlock quite a few more clues. So start to enjoy opening with posh friend in the end. Okay, so I'm going to almost work backwards from this one. Looking at the letters I've got, when I see friend, I wonder about the word ally. And if it's in the end, it could be at the end of the answer. So that would mean that we've used the last part of the clue to get some letters in. So the straight part is probably going to be start, or start to, or start to enjoy opening. So what could this be? Posh. Sometimes posh is written as UP. It took me ages to see that one, which is like up or upper, or potentially UC, like upper class. But we still need the straight part to be start. To enjoy, what could enjoy be? Oh, we've also got opening. So opening could be something like door or gate. This one doesn't jump out at me either. So I feel like the northeast corner might be a little bit tricky. So let's go back to one that I was fairly sure about, which was awesome. So we've got AWESOME. So that would be extremely impressive. So 2 bridge players. If we're trying to parse this clue, let's just start with these first few words. So 2 on its own, I don't think is necessarily going to give us anything particularly useful. To bridge, again, I don't see that potentially giving some kind of answer. The first set of words that I think gives us a potential answer is 2 bridge players. So the pairs of bridge players are north and south, I think. I don't actually play bridge. Or east and west. So we do have a W and an E. So I think the W and the E are the 2 bridge players. Now after that, we've got with 2 notes, or with 2 notes extremely. So let's just clear everything out except for west and east. How could this work? 2 bridge players with 2 notes. So while I just have a bit of a think, I'm going to pause the video because I reckon this is going to stretch my brain a bit this morning. Okay, so I'm back. I've had a bit of a think about that clue and it's not jumping out at me. So I just had a bit of a flick around at the other ones and saw that 6 down I missed something fairly obvious, which is that an official can often be a ref, so a referee in a sporting event. So if we do have quiet being the P on 6 down, followed by an official, which is a ref, and then with a little hesitation, which is ER, then we have the word prefer. This is a charade because we have the straight part, which is favour, and then we have a kind of a cryptic definition of quiet, official, and little hesitation. So we're just building the word up from smaller parts. That gives us an E at the end of 10 across. So 10 across should start to come together now. So mate leading a group of diners is easy to take. So if we guess that mate is P-A-L, a pal, if you're leading, you're ahead, or what else could you be? In front, van, not sure about that. Group of diners. I suppose it's possible that we could have some kind of anagram in there. It does look like this clue is also a charade because mate looks like it could be pal. Leading a group, if you're leading a group, you are in the van, in the fore. But I'm surprised that the word isn't jumping out to me because it starts with P-A-L. Like, what could this be? Palisade or something like that. Again, I'm going to pause. This crossword's taking just a little bit longer than usual. So rather than you listening to me and I'll just come back when I've made a bit of progress. Okay, so I'm back. I've had a bit of a flick through these clues. None of them are jumping out. So the next tactic I would typically use before I kind of go away and have a break and think about some of the clues is that I would sometimes take a look at, for example, 5 down, where we've got a U as the third letter, which is reasonably discriminating. And I would take a guess that it starts with S for sun. And then because there aren't really many other letters that could go between S and U, I would literally start with an A, have a bit of a look at that, move to B, have a little bit look at that, move to C. So I'm going to just kind of rush through the letters a little bit and I'll come back if anything jumps out at me. Okay, I'm back. So as I went through the letters, I realised there's quite a few things that seem like they can go between S and U. But when I got to T, and I have a little bit of a think with each letter, but we could have stumble, which could be to make a mistake, and that fits quite well. We've got sun, which is S, tumble, which is a fall. So again, we've got a charade here, which is each part, the clue is kind of broken up into small parts. Each part has its own definition. It's like a sort of double definition, but you've got a double or triple definition within the clue and then a straight part at the end. So this is not the same as a double definition. This is the part which is not the straight part, sun with four gets to make. Each of those sections is broken up into its own definition. On more advanced crosswords, what you'll often see is the same kind of thing, a charade, but made up of all sorts of different mechanics. So you might have a homophone plus an anagram plus an abbreviation that gives you a straight part. And that kind of explains how more advanced cryptics work. You're typically looking at the same mechanics, but you might have more combinations of mechanics in a clue. And then the other thing you might have is more obscure abbreviations, more complex definitions, so more unusual words. And often, if it's a really good clue, you'll have more misdirection, like the setter might be trying to kind of hint that it's an anagram, but they do that just to take you away. Like the classic example that jumps to my mind is the word flower in a clue. You look at flower and you think it might be rose or lily, especially because the clue might be written to suggest a flower, like plucking a flower. But actually the word is flower, which means like a river or a lava stream or something like that. So with this in, we've got 3 o'clock, which is a dining area head. Okay, so I should have remembered this. My dad was in the army, and I used to go and stay with him with my brother. And when we went to stay with him, we'd always eat in the mess. So the mess is a dining area. So again, it's another charade. Dining area is mess, the head is up, and that gives us our straight part, which is fail. Now, this gives us the beginning letter for 4, which unfortunately is an E, and that's not a very discriminating letter. I don't know if discriminating is the right word, really. I tend to think of discriminating letters as the ones in Scrabble that have lots of points. Like if a word starts with a Q, you know it's going to probably have a U afterwards. Or if a word starts with a J, it's going to kind of really narrow the space of potential answers. Whereas if it starts with an E, an S, a T, or an R, it's not necessarily giving you a ton of options. So sometimes in maths or statistics or programming, you call like things discriminating if they reduce the option space. So start. I reckon start is possibly the straight part, and the reason I think that, no, I don't know if it's the straight part, because we've got start to enjoy, which could be E. Although, again, whether this is deliberate or not from the setter, we've also got enjoy opening. So enjoy opening could be the opening of enjoy, which could be E. Posh friend. Posh, again, like I said, could be up, or it could be chic, or it could be, I don't know, I'm not very posh, so I don't know very many words for posh. If we had awesome as the third letter, that's assuming that 8 across is indeed awesome. We've got potentially elegant. So if you're posh, you're elegant. Oops, elegant. Ali, but I don't think that's how you spell Ali. But I like this as a potential mechanism. So if it's Ali at the end, it's, what would that be in grammar? It's like a present something of an abbreviation. So elegantly or exceptionally. So again, posh friend needs to come here. Well, we've got the B for 10 across, so maybe let's go back to that. A group of diners could be a table. So if we look at what's coming together now, we've got mate, which is P-A-L, leading A, that could just be the letter A, like the leading of what's next, and then a group of diners is a table. So I think that fits. It's another charade. Mate is the first part, group of then we've got A, then we've got a group of diners, and if something's easy to take, it's palatable. I don't know whether palatable is an A or an I. I'm guessing it's an A. Again, they don't spell very well. Start to enjoy. I wonder if we've got eventually. An opening could be event. And then we've got U for posh, for upper class. So if you start something, then it's eventually. I'll be honest, I think that's a little bit forced as the straight part. There's been a couple of these clues that feel a touch less kind of strict. I noticed there was 1 or 2 where it seemed like there was a kind of word that you didn't necessarily need. I'm trying to see if I can find an example of that. So, for example, Arab cried after shifting. I guess after shifting, you could say that once you take these letters, after you've shifted them, you get an obstacle. So maybe that's not too much of a problem. There's a word in Cryptic Crosswords that describes whether they're really, really strict or not. Strict meaning that pretty much every word exactly is used in the clue. There are no superfluous words. I think it's Zemenian or something like that. People who are good at crosswords would know. So it's crossword Zemenian. Okay, Zimmernian clues. So a Zimmernian clue, I think, means that the clue is really, 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 really strict. There are no superfluous words. Every word kind of gives you something that fits to the answer. Some people think that all crosswords should be like that. Some people think that a little bit of flexibility to give you more misdirection is part of the fun. And because I'm not very good at cryptic crosswords, I kind of like every part to make sense. Anyway, going back to this, we've got start to enjoy. Yeah, start to enjoy is eventually. Yeah, so that makes sense. If you start to enjoy something, then it could be eventually. I still don't think it's entirely sort of as clear as I would like it to be. An opening could be. Okay, actually, I'm completely wrong. This is Zeminian because we've got the start of enjoy, which is E. An opening is a vent. So we're not looking at the word event, we're looking at E and vent. We've got U for posh. By the way, the first time I saw U for posh, it took me ages to work out what was going on with that. That apparently it's an abbreviation for upper class, and then in the end it's eventually. So I just missed the kind of mechanics there. That does mean that 8 across is most likely awesome, and I think what I'll do here is we're already on 30 minutes, so rather than beat myself up trying to get this one right, I'm going to just quickly take a look on 15 Squared, which is an amazing blog where you can see the solutions and parsings of crosswords. So we're going on to 15 Squared, quick Cryptic by Chandler, and we're looking for 8 across. So let's take a look at 8 across. So we've got a charade of A, W, and E. Oh, I should have got this because I was thinking of musical notes. So we've got do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, re. So it's quite common to see those using clues. So why we've got 2 bridge players as A, W, E? Is that just because we've got an A at the beginning of the clue? 2 bridge players. Does that mean we're using the word A as a west and an east, giving us 2 bridge players? Let's see what they say. Actually, it looks like the blogger can't account for the A, which is interesting. So I'm not the only one who maybe struggled with this a bit. Sometimes you find in the comments. So someone else is saying they don't like the A for awesome. Someone else is saying they don't like the A for awesome. Not sure what the A for awesome is. I think if I was a little bit more on the ball today, I would have got the so and the me. Okay, so that's this crossword. Thanks, Chandler. That was a good start to the week. Found that quite a hard one. I'm writing up some notes about the mechanics and definitions and abbreviations in crosswords. Hopefully soon I'll publish something that is a little bit of a starting guide and then just grow it over time. Hope you found that useful. I found that a pretty tough one for this week. Lots of charades, lots of homophones, lots of hidden words, which I think just glancing at the top of the crossword was indicated. Sorry about the sounds of the cicadas, don't know how to pronounce it, in the background. Have a nice week and catch you next time.